So, the sweet version, once again, same version here. What we're going to do here, because once again, being downstairs, see what they had, and I've found this hazelnut creme. Now, this could be a chocolate spread. Sometimes you get certain brands of chocolate spread. You could just use a jam if you wanted. But since we had it, and since it was there, and since it looks really nice, I'm going to follow the same sort of pattern as we did with the savoury. Spreading the base with something a little bit delicious. This is nice. I don't know whether to eat it or just wear it down my thigh, because I'm sure it's got full of calories and that's where it will end up, but never mind. A little bit. Nobody's eating a lot. I think once again, when people say, but baking's not healthy, is anything healthy? It's moderation, isn't it? It's about things in moderation. And if you're eating things for a meal, and I think where we've gone wrong with our diet, and I'm not preaching because I'm no one to speak, but I think it's the ability to eat 24/7. And if we go back to how we used to be with 3 meals a day, you're fairly balanced. You know, everything's fairly balanced. And then you're allowed your carbs, you're allowed your fats, you're allowed your proteins. And you're allowed your treat, but it's all in moderation. Whereas now we can tend to treat ourselves 3 or 4 times a day if needs be.
And I think that's the key, like you say, it's an important point you touched on about the 3 meals a day. But also something like this that you're making now, it's not the kind of thing you're going to be eating every day, is it? It's, occasionally, and it is a treat. And I don't think there should be any kind of guilt involved in eating it and enjoying it.
No. I mean, if we're going to use cooking and baking for our therapeutic reasons and not just to feed families, which of course it is there in its main, then why would you actually denounce yourself from some of it? But I'll tell you one thing, the more I've gone out there cooking and baking, the less I eat of it. I would eat somebody else's, but I probably don't eat my own baking. It's not because it's not nice, but I just seem to get the satisfaction. I've probably licked the bowl, I don't know how many times. And if you weren't here watching me, that fork would be in my mouth, you know what I mean?
I'll turn a blind eye.
So, plums. These are plums. We've got this hazelnut spread on there. Could be chocolate spread, could be jam. Whatever fruit you came across. If you had a bag of frozen fruits, that would work just the same.
Nice.
You know?
Would that not affect the pastry in any way?
Well, you would drain them.
Right, okay.
You would give them a good draining, because frozen fruits can be, and I don't think you'd let it sit. You get it in the oven, but it would be softer, most definitely. And then, if you're artistic, you could do these in a lovely sort of French style way in a fan.
I love how you make it look so effortless, you know, and you can obviously see the passion that you've got and the knowledge and stuff as well. So one question there for you, Sandy, is where do you get your inspiration from?
Now then, I think I'm a cookery book fiend, you know. I have hundreds. I've had to have a little bit of a clear out. But I tend to borrow different recipes from different places and combine them. And sometimes I quite like, my inspiration, as I say, comes from watching things, comes from seeing things, actually comes from things like we've done today. Oh, if I use that recipe with that ingredients, we might end up with something like that. So it's that trial and error, and there have been errors. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, it is. And once again, we go back to everything. You know, if this was a complete disaster, you've got custard.
Yeah, exactly.
Pour custard over it, and who'd know?
The hider of a multitude of problems.
Certainly does. So we're just gonna. This could be apples. Last downstairs you had some pineapples.
Yeah.
It could be pineapple. Would you use the hazelnut? I don't know. Would you?
But I love that thought about, you know, the hazelnut with plums, because thinking about seasonality as well, and nice kind of really robust flavours I think that's a lovely idea.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know, with the pineapples, obviously you could go the other way and you think more tropical, so with coconut, things like that.
Coconut, yes, yeah. You could use a lime curd with the pineapple.
Yeah, that would
with
be
the
nice.
pineapple, that would give it a tropical. So once again, coming from Yorkshire, I've made a nice pattern, but I've got some plums left over and they're not going on. So we shall just...
You're going to squeeze them in, aren't you?
I'm going to squeeze them in because that's what you do.
So, quick fire question for you then. Here we go.
Go for it.
Let's have a think. So we've found out a little bit, obviously, where your passions come from with the bacon and what have you. And you can tell, obviously, it's something that, you know, you don't just do for events and food festivals.
No.
It's something you're passionate about doing at home and what have you. What is your earliest memory of baking? You know, like the first thing you tasted or the first thing you made?
I think, once again, we come back to that home kitchen. And I not a right big fan of scones, but my mum used to make the most gorgeous Anzac biscuits. You know, the oats. Right. There were oats and golden syrup and butter and margarine. And they made a jar full. And it was this jar full of stuff. And, you know, there were great dunkers. You know, so nice. Great with a cup of tea.
Yeah. They held their own when you dunked them.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the first memories I had, watching things like that. And then she was very good at making things for school bazaar and church fairs and stuff. And invariably, she'd batch bake date and walnut cakes, which somehow got called date and walnut cakes. Date and walnut cakes, and she'd do about 8. And one year she made a batch of date and walnut cakes, and she made a lovely chocolate cake, did my mum. And my dad came in the kitchen and wanted a piece, you know, could he have a piece? And she says, no, it's for church, it's for the church bazaar. And he said to her, and when we all stood around, he said, how much would you get for that? She said something like, about £1.50 at the time. He said, right, I'll buy it.
Oh, wow.
So he bought the cake off her. Then the rest of the weekend he was, Dad, can I have a piece? He cannot. No, I'll sell you a piece. So he sold it to his own children.
Fantastic. I like the sound. Was he a Yorkshireman or was he Irish?
He was a Yorkshireman. My mum had the Irish descent. So.
Right, okay.
But once again, that's a foodie place, you know. And I tell you where my mum, when we went to London, you know, people used to go to the National History Museum and everything. And we went to Cranks.
Right. And
Cranks, back in the day, was probably the first vegetarian restaurant going. And there was 2 women, and it was absolutely world renowned. And my mum, she'd read up about Cranks, and we went there. You know, and she used to do brown scones, and she made a chili con carne before anybody had a chili con carne, and she made beef bourguignon. And somebody said, well, it's just stew, Sheila, isn't it? It's just
it's posh stew,
posh stew.
Delicious though.
So look, we've got here now. What I would do there, if we had some, I'd put a few chopped hazelnuts on top of there. But we've got a few walnuts.
Ah, yes, we have.
So let's just use a few walnuts. So totally detracting from the fact that I can't open this. She said.
We'll cut that bit out, Sandy.
Good. Just to keep the system going, to keep the flavours going, we'd use some chopped hazelnuts. But then again, if you haven't, don't worry. But going back, if you'd even got tin pineapple.
Yeah.
If you drained it, pineapple chunks. Even like crushed pineapple would do it. But I would be tempted to sprinkle coconut on top there.
Right. Yeah.
And some lime zest. But remember that while we're making these with our fair share products and some sort of surplus products, if you really wanted to set this out for a food, a dinner party or something like that, you know, you could go out and buy what you wanted then, and or you could just got what you wanted. But what I'm trying to say is that with the sponge cake and with this, it's the idea. That's all. That's all I'm bringing, is the thought, the method.
Yeah, once
you've got the method, everything is possible.
Cook in a preheated oven, 160 degrees Celsius or gas mark 4 or 5 for around about 30 to 35 minutes. A big thanks to Sandy for all those wonderful recipes and spending some time in the kitchen. We hope to see you again soon. If you've enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe and please share. And now for some final thoughts from Sandy herself.
So, well, we've created some I say we, obviously you have, Sandy, some wonderful dishes in the kitchen here today. So thanks for coming to the Fulcrum Kitchen. How have you found it?
I found it absolutely fabulous. I've learnt a lot, I've seen a lot, it's been absolutely fabulous. And you know, I don't want to brag, but I didn't know I was coming to make what we made today. That's just the beauty, that's the excitement. Maybe I'm easily pleased, but that's the excitement of what you can come across. And so let's face it, your store cupboard could be just the same, you know, tins of beans, you know, everything, so much is possible. And we've just had a taste of the tart, and the pastry wasn't bad at all, really, and I think I'm more surprised than anybody. But try it, do it. Just don't let it stand still and put anything into anything, you know. I'm going to say don't worry. Things do have to matter. Things do. You have to put certain things with certain things. But the world literally is your oyster. And I come back to the thing of, we're making meals, we're feeding our families, money's tight, life's hard, but it doesn't have to be without its little bit of fun. And I think a bit of cooking and a bit of baking, you'll be surprised how much it just gives you that little pang just in here, and you just can pat yourself on the back and say, do you know what? I'm okay. So just go be okay and please people. Share it. It speaks a language. It's universal. It's got no words. It's just got here. I'm sorry, I made plenty, but here, please share. Please have something that I'm having. And just break down those barriers, as is my motto, break down the barriers. So look forward to seeing you all again soon and working with Chris.